Yeah. So what is VPC, guys? What do you mean by VPC? What do you understand? Any idea? If I ask you about
Uh,
your
VPC is just like a virtual place where we can use the AWS resources in our own cloud. That's why we call it as private.
okay,
And in that case, we can scale. Um, it is scalable. Like we can um, increase the resources, decrease the resources as per our requirement.
okay. Rakesh, how about you?
Yep. Virtual private cloud. It's a logical network in the AWS.
Okay.
Yeah, we can assign, the IP addresses like within a group or like a, uh, for example, like in one department or one section in the office, we can
Mm-hmm.
assign our own IP addresses, like a private IP addresses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a bit closer to the exact definition. Yeah. How about you, Manoj? What do you understand about VPC?
Virtual private cloud, it is a
Logical.
virtual private cloud.
So this is the expanded form which you have just told. Expanded form of VPC, virtual private cloud. Okay. See, VPC is, it is a kind of logical network in AWS cloud. Okay. Logical network or virtual network, we can say. So Rakesh said logical network. I can say virtual network. Okay. So we do have a data center. Okay. AWS is nothing rather these are the resources which are hosted in a data center, and we don't know the location of those data centers. We just know where exactly the regions are. I mean, if we are talking about Mumbai, so Mumbai is covering entire India. Okay. So Mumbai is just the name of the region. It can, I mean, actual data center can be anywhere in India. It should not be only in Mumbai. Okay. So with AWS cloud, we don't know where the exact data center is. We just know the region. Okay. And we need to create our resources. Our resources should be created in such a way that it will be secure, should not be accessible by anyone. Okay, until and unless I'm not sharing my IP address range or any user credentials with any other user outside my network. Okay, so until unless I'm not sharing, no one would be able to access it. Okay, so it is a kind of virtual network in the AWS cloud, which is owned by me only. Okay. uh, Whenever you create an account in AWS, by default, AWS create a virtual network for that particular user. Okay, which is specific to that user only. Okay, it is not like Manoj has created one account and AWS has assigned a virtual network for Manoj. Similarly, Rakesh has created an account and AWS has assigned one virtual network for Rakesh. It will not be like Manoj's private network and Rakesh private network are same. Manoj would be able to access Rakesh private network, or Rakesh would be able to access Manoj's private network. They are logically isolated from each other until and unless Manoj is not authorizing Rakesh to access his network, or Rakesh is not authorizing Manoj to access his network. Okay, so there's a default VPC which AWS create for each and every user who creates an account with AWS. Okay, but on top of it, okay, we have our own specific requirement. First of all, we cannot rely on what AWS has given to us. Okay, and also the network which AWS create, it has internet access. You must have seen that what all resources EC2 instance which we create in AWS default VPC, it has default internet access, and we don't want our resources, I mean the resources which I'm going to create in AWS will going to have the internet access. And for that purpose, I have my specific requirement. I don't want internet access to my resources. I want to segregate my front facing applications in such a way that those will be internet facing and the backend applications will not be internet facing. Those will be totally isolated from the outside world. So I have my specific requirement which this default VPC will not be able to cater. Okay. And obvious, I don't rely on what AWS has given to me. I want to build my own network, and that's how this custom VPC concept has come. Okay, AWS is not saying that, guys, I have given you one default VPC, just go ahead with it and use it. No, AWS is saying, fine, I am giving you one default VPC, but I'm also giving you a benefit or a feature that you can create your own VPC also for your own specific requirements. And that's how this custom VPC concept has arose. Okay, has come. So you create your own virtual network in AWS, which is isolated from all other VPCs in AWS data centers. They are not, until unless you don't authorize, one VPC cannot communicate to the other VPC. Okay, those are isolated, and that is only for you. You can use it as per your convenience, as per your requirement, as per your whatever setup you wanted to do. Okay, so this is basically a virtual network inside AWS for one customer. I already told no one can access your VPC. All VPC in AWS are isolated to each other. Okay, they're all logically isolated to each other. There are maximum 5 VPCs can be created in one region, and maximum 200 subnets can be created in one VPC. So maximum 5 VPCs can be created in one region, and maximum 200 subnets can be created in one VPC. These are the default values. Okay, but those can be increased depending upon your requirement after you uh, request AWS that you wanted to have more. Then they can increase this limit on your specific requirement. So more than 5 VPC is also possible after requesting Amazon. Okay. Now, okay, I have also covered Elastic IP, correct? I didn't wrote it in that particular sheet. Topic covered. Okay, I will write it there. 1 second. Elastic IP. What is Elastic IP, guys?
IP which we can keep it. It won't change.
It won't change. Is it chargeable?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah. No? Yes,
Not
it is
sure.
chargeable. No, it is chargeable. That's what I remember.
Just check your notes.
Let me check. Not sure.
There is a specific condition under which it is chargeable. It is not
Oh.
always chargeable.
We wrote it down as we need to delete after terminating the instance.
If you allocate a Elastic IP for yourself and you are not using it, then it is chargeable. But if you are using it,
Oh,
it is not chargeable.
yeah,
Okay.
that's right. Yeah.
So until and unless you're not using it, you need to pay for it. But if you are using it continuously, then you don't need to pay for it. Okay. So 5 elastic IP allocated for one AWS account. I think this is something which I have already mentioned when we were covering the elastic IP concept. Okay. When you create a VPC, then a route table, NACL, and security group is also created by default. So there are 3 things which created by default: route table, NACL, and security group. Okay. VPC is confined to a region and cannot be extended to other region. So one VPC can be, it is confined to one region, and we cannot have one VPC extended across 2 different regions. And it is created on region and not on AZs. Okay, we create VPC on region, not on AZ. So if my region is having 3 AZs or 6 AZs, okay, then in that case, my VPC will be created across all the AZs. It is not confined to one single AZ. Okay. We defined CIDR range for the VPC whenever we create it, correct? So we defined one CIDR range 10.0.0.0/16. Okay, which is the identification, which is how we identify our VPC. So in one user account, like if Rakesh is creating a VPC or Shirish is creating a VPC, in that particular case, okay, you cannot have 2 VPC with same CIDR range. Okay, you with one, with a specific CIDR range, you can have only one VPC. If you're creating one more VPC in your account, okay, then you need to choose a different CIDR range. Okay, but if there are 2 accounts, like Sirish is having one account, Rakesh is having one account, Manoj is having one account, so there are 3 accounts, and Rakesh is creating a VPC, Sirish, Manoj, all 3 are creating one VPCs. All can have the same CIDR range because they are in different account. Okay, so 2 accounts can have same CIDR for creating VPC, but CIDR needs to be unique in one account. Okay, let's say a requirement come wherein Rakesh wanted to communicate to Sirish VPC. I mean, the resources which Rakesh has created in his VPC, in his custom VPC, those resources wanted to communicate to the resources in Sirish, resources in the custom VPC which Sirish has created. Okay, if that is the requirement, okay, that resources wanted to communicate between the VPCs, then in that particular case, CIDR needs to be unique. They cannot be same. Okay, so the CIDR which Rakesh has chosen and the CIDR range which Sirish has chosen, both needs to be different. So whenever you are creating a VPC, you need to be sure whether your VPC is going to communicate to any other VPC or not. And if that is the requirement, then better to have a discussion with the other VPC owner or other account owner or other data center owner. Check what range has been considered at the other end. Your range should not be similar to the range which the other end has considered. It should be different. Okay, because this is from my real experience I'm telling you. Okay, uh, in the real world, when you're working as a solution architect in a company, okay, your company have a requirement to create a VPC. Although this comes very infrequent, because VPCs is a very big thing which normally gets created. Mostly company, if they already have existence in AWS, then they must be having VPCs in AWS. Okay, then you don't need to create a new VPC. Only if a very big program has come wherein you need to create an entire different environment at all in AWS. Okay, from start, from scratch, then only you need to create a VPC. Or if your company is now moving into AWS, was not in AWS till now, then you need to create VPCs and all those things from scratch. Otherwise, you will not going to create any new VPC. You are going to use the existing VPCs which are already created for your company in AWS. Okay, so most of the time the requirement is the resources in AWS wanted to communicate to the resources within AWS in other VPC, or within or in other cloud service provider like Azure or Google Cloud GCP, or maybe on-premise data center as well. Okay, so it is not this is what is there in our company at least, where whenever we are creating resources in one data center, it is not an isolated resource or application. Okay, it always needs to communicate to the application in other data center. In that particular case, we need to set up the connectivities as well between two data centers and all those things. And in those cases, where if a requirement come to create a new VPC, it should not be just created whatever is coming in your mind. Okay, it needs to be properly discussed with different data center network engineers or network architects. Okay, that what all CIDR you guys are using at your end. Okay, what, so that the CIDR which you are going to choose for the VPC which you are going to create in AWS will not be similar to the one which is already being used by any other data center. Okay, your CIDR should be unique. Okay, so those kind of conversation is necessary whenever you are creating a VPC. Okay, a real-time issue which has come, we created a VPC in Oracle Cloud last year, and we didn't consulted. Okay, we didn't consulted, and we thought that our infrastructure which are creating in Oracle Cloud is not going to communicate to any other resources in any of the other data centers. But what has happened after 6 months, sudden requirement has come that one of the application in this Oracle Cloud wanted to communicate to the other application in the other data center, and then issue pops up. We were not able to communicate because the CIDR range in the other data center was the same which we have used to create the VPC in Oracle Cloud. Okay, and then in such particular situation, you just have one option to destroy everything and create everything from fresh. But this is a huge task when you have 500 or so many number of EC2 instances, so many number of resources. Okay, creating VPC, creating subnet, creating route table, creating many different things in from scratch is going to be a very huge task. It is not going to be happen in 1 or 2 days, because the initial project has took around 6 months to come in shape. And after 6 months we realize that now it has a interface which needs to talk to the application in some other data center. So again, destroying and using another 6 months to create everything is going to be a hectic task. AWS knew about it, that these things happen. So they have given one solution to uh, you know to mitigate this situation, and that solution was basically they are giving a feature of secondary CIDR range for a VPC. So uh, you create one VPC with one CIDR range, and later on you realize that that particular CIDR range is not unique with CIDR range in other data center. Then there's an option to create, to allocate a secondary CIDR range to your existing VPC. Okay, which that secondary CIDR range can be, whenever you are allocating a secondary CIDR range to your VPC, while allocating it, you can properly consult with the other data center guys, and then only you can assign the secondary CIDR range to your VPC. And with that particular secondary range, you can create resources. Okay, so that is one of the functionality which AWS has given, considering that these issues are coming very frequently from many different companies. They forget to consult with the other data centers, or maybe what normally happen that see, with cloud, it is very easy to destroy and create everything, but in on premise, okay, it is not very easy to destroy the existing VPCs, existing VPNs which, or VLANs which they have. Okay, they have legacy VLANs, okay, they are using since long, and it is hosting many different applications and communicating to many different other vendors as well. Okay, destroying everything is going to impact of, it is going to have a huge impact. So from on-premise data center, and for that matter even for cloud, if it is, that particular VPC is getting used for different other purpose as well, so destroying everything is going to have a very huge impact in terms of existing functionalities and all. So considering all those different impact, AWS has given this secondary CIDR range kind of functionality. Okay, understood? Hope no alien talk till now. Manoj, understood everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay. So what all things we create when we create a VPC? Okay. So consider this is AWS. This is whole AWS. Okay. Now we are creating a VPC. So this is what we normally create. We create a VPC. So my VPC. Okay, we create a VPC. So this is across the region. Okay. Now, what all things we normally create. So we first create a VPC. In that VPC, we create subnets. Okay. Those subnets can be public subnet or private subnet. Okay. So let me mention public sub. I create one public subnet and I create one private subnet. Now, before moving ahead, can Manoj, can you tell me what is meant by public subnet and private subnet?
Public sub
Mhm.
public subnet is within the
Okay, you guys stays in your apartment, okay, in your house, and that house has a living room, and that house has a bedroom as well. Okay, whenever any guest come, do you take the guest directly in your bedroom, or you first take them to your living room? You know those who are not very close friend, you just I mean, they just be in your living room, you host them in your living room, and once your party is over, they normally go directly from your living room to their house, to their own place. But those which are very close friends, like your relatives and all those things, they are only allowed to your bedrooms. Okay, you normally take them to your bedrooms. Okay, fine, sit here, stay here, and all those things. But not so close friends, they only stay still living room and then go from there itself. Okay, so consider my VPC is your flat, public subnet is your living room, and private subnet is your bedroom. Okay, now understood? So what is public subnet? Where everyone is allowed. Okay, everyone is allowed. No one can come to your bedroom without coming first to private living room. Okay, so this consider the analogy. Okay, so this is my flat. This is my flat. Okay, this is my living room. This is my bedroom. I'm a poor guy. I just have one bedroom apartment. Okay, so maybe you guys can have multiple bedrooms. You guys can create multiple bedrooms, multiple living rooms. Okay, but I just want to have one living room, one bedroom. So anyone which is coming to my flat can only come to the living room. Okay, and only those who are very close friends of my relatives, my uncle, aunt, and all, they are only allowed to bedroom. Okay, but how this normally happens? Okay, if anyone is coming, I need to define a kind of gate over here. Okay, so I need to, my flat must be having a door. Okay, so I need to have a door. So this is the door which in AWS we call it as Internet Gateway, IGW. Okay, and this is analogy of my main door, my apartment door, my flat door, main door. There will be multiple door in your apartment. One door going to will be for your bedroom, one door will be for your washroom and all, but this particular door is allowing, is the main door of your flat. Okay, so main door. Okay, so I need to have a main door with which the anyone can come to my living room. Okay, but I need to define a kind of path. Okay, yeah, door is there, but how I need to, if anyone is coming, ringing the bell, okay, I need to open the door and I need to define a way for the living room for that particular person. That person cannot come on his own to my living room until unless I'm not taking him to my living room. Okay, so I need to define a path. Okay, so that path we call it as route table. Manoj, this is for you. I'm giving these, I'm explaining this in this way just for you, okay, so that you would be able to understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so route table, that route table is going to define how a person coming from outside will go to this. So all these definition will be there in this particular route table. Okay, so if someone is coming from outside, how that particular person will go to the living room or the public subnet with the help of this route table. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how again, so Manoj, Rakesh has come to Manoj's house. He rings the bell. Okay, Manoj open the door. Okay, Rakesh is coming for the first time. Rakesh doesn't know where the living room of Manoj. Can be a possibility there is a corridor here. Okay, a living room is not properly visible. So so Manoj, what Manoj is doing, Manoj has taken Rakesh to his living room. Okay, so Manoj has defined a path. Okay, come this way. This is my living room. Sit over there. Sit over here. Okay, so all these definitions are there in this route table. Now Rakesh seems to be his very close friend. Okay, or maybe Rakesh has said that I came here, I had a fight with my wife. I don't want to go home now. I just want to stay with you, Manoj. That's enough for now. Okay, so Manoj said, okay, fine, don't worry, man, you are my very close friend. I'm giving you, you stay here, but where is your bedroom? I mean, where is Rakesh is going to stay? In one of the bedroom. So Manoj has to define a path to the bedroom because Rakesh doesn't know. He has come to his house for the first time. Okay, so so Manoj has taken Rakesh from public living room to the bedroom. Okay, fine, come. This is the bedroom. Get yourself fresh. Okay, so this particular thing, again, we need to define a kind of root table. Okay, so this definition, what is the path to go to the private subnet from public to private? Okay, so this is defined in one more root table, which is internal to my, which is internal, which doesn't, which is in one of the other root table. Okay, understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this living room is going to have sofa set, dining table, chairs. Okay, maybe Manoj is very rich guy. He is having, multiple, what we call swings and all those things as well. Good balcony, good, there are multiple different resources which are there in the living room. So those resources are nothing rather EC2 instances or RDS instances, whatever we normally going to create. Okay, so there are certain instances, there are certain resources which are for public subnet. Okay, and there are certain resources which are for private subnet as well, like bed will be there, wardrobe will be there. So some EC2 instances will be there in this private subnet, and some public some EC2 instance will be there in the public subnet as well. Okay, but this bedroom is not accessible to the outside world. Anyone which is coming to this flat is coming to the living room. He's not going directly to the bedroom. So the resources of this private subnet is not accessible to anyone who is coming from the outside. So whosoever is coming from outside, that particular person is only having the access to the resources of public subnet. Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay, you cannot have a bed in your bedroom, in your living room. So what all resources which are there in your living room can be accessible to whosoever is coming to your flat. Okay, but what all resources is in your bedroom will not be having any access to whosoever is coming to your flat from outside. Understood till
Yes,
now?
yes, sir.
Now can we create all these things in AWS now? Let's create. Okay, any questions? You understood?
So Kevin, can't we use the same route table uh, for both the things like public and private?
If you
Because
define, if you use the same route table, is it not like uh, if you're defining the path in the same route table, okay, is it not violating the norms that your bedroom is also exposed to the outside world if it is going to be in the same route table?
yeah. So
Is
we
it not?
can't add. Yeah,
We can't have.
yeah,
Okay, so if we are going to have the same route table for both the purpose, then your private subnet is also exposed to the outside world.
outside one.
Okay, but which you
Yeah.
don't want.
That means
Okay.
it's same as like we just everyone can see our modem, but they can't access our internal
Exactly.
network. Same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
And also modem can have a route table.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
has route
yeah,
table.
it has route table. Yeah,
All these network devices, routers, modems, all these have their own route tables.
because that's a public interface.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now let's open the AWS console. Anyone else wanted to do this exercise, or you want me to do the exercise? Okay, let me first do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Then in the next iteration, you guys can have it. Okay, so VPC, you can write VPC here, and you can have a VPC, just a service in AWS. Okay, click here. So this is the VPC dashboard. Okay, so this is the dashboard. As of now, we have just one VPC, which is default. Okay, we are going to create. So it has all those different route tables, subnets. Okay, I'm going to cover these things, but as of now, just understand. Okay, so your VPC. I don't have a, I have just one default VPC, and this is something which you will also able to see in your console. Okay, I'm going to create my VPC. So what I'm going to create, I'm going to create my flat, my VPC. Okay, so this is what I am going to create. I'm giving this as name my VPC, which is the illustration which I have taken. Okay, so my flat, I also need to give an address to my flat, isn't it? Manoj, you must be having an address for your flat as well, or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I also need to give a address to my VPC, my flat. So let's say I'm not, let's say I'm giving address. So this is the address which is applicable for my flat. Okay, so this is what people understand. They don't understand any other address. Okay, so we can have IPv6 as well, but as of now I just wanted to use IPv4. Okay, tenancy default, dedicated, leave it default. Dedicated is like, it is going to have dedicated hosting and all those things. I don't want. So this is automatically it has considered. And now create. So I've created my flat. I have given an address to my flat. Okay, so you would be able to see my flat, my VPC here. Okay, so this is my VPC. This is my address. This is the default. Okay, fine. Now what I need is I need to create rooms. Okay, so let's create subnets. So room is nothing but subnets. Okay, so I will go into subnet. These are all default. Let's, so that you guys will not be confused. Oops. Oops, what is happening, guys? See, there's no copy. Control C. C, save. Control V, save. Control V, save. These are all default, okay? Now I'm going to create my subnets. So I need to define my flat where I'm going to create this room. So I need to define my flat. So this is my flat, my VPC. Now name of my room. So living room. So let's say I'm giving it name pub subnet. So this is the name of my living room. Okay. There is no preference. I can define which AG I need to choose. So I'm not giving any kind of preference. Just default. Okay. I need to define a kind of address of my living room. Although there's no address as such for your living room and bedroom, but maybe if you have two living room in your flat, if you have two bedroom, so bedroom one, bedroom two, living room one, living room two. So that's why. So this is what, this is an address of your living room. Okay. So, you can say that, few guests are sitting in living room 1, few guests are, living room 2 is only for my dear and near friends only, wherein I'm going to have large parties and all those things. This is not exposed to all. Okay. So this is what I need to define an address for my living room. So can I define 10.0.0.0/24? Okay, I'm giving this address to my living room. Okay, you can correlate the side divider, what all things I have I taught you in the last session. So this is the subnet. So where is the icon? Create a subnet. Yeah, go ahead. Someone was having any questions? No? Okay. So one public subnet or one living room I have created. Now I have to create a bedroom as well. So let's create one more. In my flat, my VPC, let's say I'm giving it as priv subnet. Okay. There's no preference. It can be anywhere on any of the data center. Let's say give another address. Okay. Fine.
Okay.
Create. So I have created 2 rooms. Okay. One is this living public, living room, and this is the bedroom. Okay. What next? So I have created 2 rooms. I need to create a main door of my flat. So let's create a main door of my flat. So this is what we call it as IGW, Internet Gateway. Where is this? Here it is, Internet Gateway. Okay, everything is default. So create an Internet Gateway. Let's say I'm giving it my IGW. This is the name of my main door, and create. Okay. So I have, this is what this is a
Main door.
door. This is a door which I have created, but you see this is detached. So what I have did, I have created a door, or maybe I bought a door from the market, but I need to fit it into my apartment. Okay, I need what? I have just bought a door. So I just bought a door and I need to fit into my apartment, my flat. How we need to do it? Action, attach to your flat. Okay, select your flat. Okay, and attach. So you have attached this main door which you have bought from market to your flat. Now, what next? I need to define a way so that anyone who is coming can reach to my public subnet or my living room. How it can be done? From root table. So go into the root table. Whenever we create a root table, okay, whenever we create a VPC, what I told you, what all things creates by default? Root table, NACL, and security group. And that's why you can see that there is a root table which has, excuse me, which has been created in my flat, in my VPC. Okay. Either you can use this or you can create your own root table. Let's not use it. I'm going to create my own root table, but in later exercises, I'm going to use this default only for this particular specific purpose. Okay. So this is a default one. And this is default FAULT, my VPC. Okay, so this is default for my VPC. Let's create our own root table. Okay, as I said, you could have used this default root table as well. Okay, but I'm going to create my own root table. So create a root table, give a name. Okay, this you can give my public root table, RT table. Okay, public RT table. So this is this which I am creating, root table. Okay, so first I'm creating it where in my flat
VPC.
and my VPC. Okay, fine. So I've created a root table, public root table. Okay, in this root table I just created it. I just created the root table, but I didn't define any kind of path. So if someone is coming from here, from the main door, how that particular person will reach here. Okay, this is something which I have not defined yet. I just created the root table. So I need to define that root as well. Okay, I need to define the root. Edit roots. This, there is one entry which comes by default. Okay, and this entry, what is this entry? Because of this entry, if we delete it, first of all, it is not deletable. Okay, you cannot delete it. Whenever a root table you create, be it a default root table which gets created by itself, or a root table which you create by because of this exercise, any of the root table which gets created, our entry which comes there by default, and the meaning of this entry is that any resources, anyone within the flat would be able to communicate to each other. Okay, so in this flat, whosoever are living in this flat, they would be able to talk to each other. They would be able to go from here to here. Okay, so this root which is there, 10.0.0.0/16 and local, this is enabling everyone in that particular VPC to talk to each other. So what all EC2 instance, what all resources you are going to create in that VPC in any of the subnet, they would be able to talk to each other internally, privately. Okay. So if they are talking to each other, if Manoj is talking to his sister or Manoj is talking to his mother, they are talking in their house. That noise, their noise is not going outside. They are just talking internally, privately in this flat. Okay. So this entry comes by default, but we need to define a root for this particular case. Okay, how to do that? Add root. Okay, 0.0. This is, what is this? 0.0.0/0. Anyone. This is anyone. Okay, so anyone can come outside, anyone, and from inside, anyone can go outside anywhere. Okay, so this is that particular thing. Okay, and through IGW, through your main door, they can come. Okay, so you need to select your IGW, and anywhere, anyone, this is basically this. Anyone can go outside, and anyone can come inside with this particular thing, and save. Okay, understood? So
Yes.
in this root table, the one public root table which we have defined, there's a root which we have defined. Okay, understood? Now let's define this particular root table as well. Okay, let's give it as a name, PRIVRT table. My VPC and create. Okay, do I need to define anything here?
Because it's already in the CIDR range.
Yeah, so
Because
this,
it's a private.
so as I mentioned, this, whenever we create a root table by our own or by default, if it is getting created, okay, one entry comes by default, and this is that particular entry. that anyone in that particular flat in that VPC can communicate to anyone. And this is what we need. In this private root table, we don't need any external communication. Okay, so those who are in this living room would be able to come to my bedroom, and this particular entry is enabling that particular feature. So whosoever are there in the public subnet would be able to communicate to my private subnet because of this entry. Understood?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't need to define any other entry, so that is there. Even I do not have to define, do not have to create this subnet, because this entry should have already been there in the default subnet root table which was created when I was creating my VPC. See, this was my default VPC. If I select it and I see the root, it already had this entry. So I could have used this particular thing as well as my private root table. But just to illustrate you guys that, I'm creating two tables, but you could have used this, you could have utilized this particular root table as well for this purpose. Or you could have utilized this root table for public sub root table as well. Okay, just need to edit the root and add the IGW entry. So in that particular case, we were utilizing this particular root table as a public root table. Okay, but I'm not using it. This is there and this is just sitting there without without us using it. Okay, we have created one public root table and private root table. Okay, understood. Now let's create instances in these subnets. Okay, and let's see what happens. Okay, so now how to create instance? We need to go into EC2. So Amazon. Okay, here in this page. Okay, what all things I have done, I did till now. Uh, I have selected the AMI, which is a normal thing. Okay, when I create an instance, I select the AMI, I select the instance type. So for free tier, it will be T2 micro. Okay, then configure the instance. Here in this page, I need to select my VPC, my flat. Okay, in that flat, which subnet, public subnet or private subnet? I'm going to create, I'm going to buy a sofa for my living room. So this is my living room. I'm going to create a instance, EC2 instance in my public subnet, my living room. Okay, and see this setting, use subnet setting. So if you would have defined that the instances in my VPC, in my this public subnet, whenever I'm going to create, auto assign a public IP to the EC2 instance, then if I would have used this, it would have automatically assigned a public IP. But I didn't, I have not done anything here. Okay, what I have not done anything, if when I was creating the subnet, okay, so there was a option when you create a subnet, this is public subnet, in action. Okay, in action, modify auto assign IP settings. This is disabled at the moment. So if I enable it, okay, what all EC2 instance I am going to create, it will automatically going to have a public IP assigned to it. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Just let me know if you are not able to understand anything. What we have seen here, use subnet setting disable, because this public subnet, the setting of the public subnet is not saying to allocate a public IP whenever any EC2 instance is going to be created. This is what I'm going to do now. It was disabled, I'm going to enable it now. Okay, and then I will show you, you will see it in in the next page. Okay, my VPC, my VPC, public subnet, see, now it is enable. Either I could have used this, or I can forcefully enable it by, you know, picking this particular field. Okay, but I just wanted to use my subnet setting because there also I have enabled it. If I would not have enabled in my public subnet setting, then I could have used this option. Okay, but now it is there, then I'm using it. So I'm creating a EC2 instance in this public subnet in my VPC, which is going to have a public IP. Okay, so because it is, you know, it should be accessible from outside world, so it should have a public IP. Rest everything will remain the same. Or you want to have a website also? Okay, leave it. Next, add storage. That is something which I'm going to give you guys as an assignment. I'm giving a name. So my name is sofa. I bought a sofa. So this is the name of the EC2 instance which I'm going to create in the public subnet. What I told you, whenever I create a VPC, what is getting created by default? Root table, NSCL, and security group. So a default, if you see, a default security group creates by default. So this is a default security group which gets created whenever I create a VPC. Okay. So I want to create a new security group. So MySG Linux. Okay. So since it is a Linux instance, I need SSH. Okay. If I want to have internet access, so let's say for internet all traffic, I will say, okay, I'm allowing all traffic. Okay. From anywhere. Review and launch. I don't know whether this key is working or not. Wait, let me check if key is working or not. No. This is not the key. Where is the actual key? Batch 2 to new batch. And where is the PPK? This is not PPK. This is not PPK. Let's do one thing. Create one thing for you guys only. Create a new pair, down, name it as new batch download. Where is the key has gone? Okay. So this is the thing. Launch instance. Okay, fine. So what I have done, I've created a resource. I bought a sofa and put it here in the public subnet in the living room, or I created a EC2 instance in this public subnet. Now, similarly, I'm going to do something in the private subnet. We'll buy a, a bed because Rakesh has just come. So I just have one bed. I need to buy one more bed for Rakesh. So in that case, I'm going to market and buy one bed for Rakesh. So let's create one more instance. See, I'm not doing anything in private subnet, like, auto enable IP address, because my private subnet doesn't need any kind of public IP and all. Correct? It doesn't need any public IP. So in instance, my VPC and private subnet. See, it is disabled, so let it be. Okay, storage. So bed. Let's use this. Okay, all traffic, but we'll see what is going to happen. Okay, let these instance come in that. In the meanwhile, I will create a PuttyGen, PuttyGen. Where is PuttyGen in the system? Okay. So sofa has come up. Okay, so sofa has been set up. Now we can have a party. Okay, so this is my public IP. Let's see if I'm able to log into my instance. PUTTY putty, is it coming? No, it is not coming. Wait. Is this the IP, the correct IP I have chosen? Yeah, it is the correct IP. What happened? Tell me, guys, what happened? Why I'm not able to access? Hmm? No answer? Tell me.
Thinking, Kevin. I think we need to do something, but
The security group.
yeah.
Security group, anyway, all traffic there, right? We selected all traffic.
Yeah.
This is the security group.
Yes,
So which subnet it is? Let's see, at 175. And how about the IP of this? 1.177. 1 second, let me connect. So we have a good security group as well. We have the public IP as well. This is the public IP. And what else? Why it is not coming up? Okay, let's see here. This is which subnet we have chosen. Instance. Did I did any blunder? Why IGW is not here? I didn't saved it or what? What has happened suddenly?
the gateway.
Yeah, why gateway is not showing here? I added it in front of you, isn't it?
Yes, you did.
Then why the gateway is not there? Is it like I didn't saved it or what? Could be a possibility. I was just showing you and didn't saved it. See, let's edit the root table. Oh, no. I have the gateway as well here. So no propagated, no. I missed one thing, guys. Sorry, my bad. What I missed? Okay. So I created the root table. Okay, but and I mentioned this particular root here. Okay, what I mentioned this root to attach to this, but I didn't mention that, you know, this particular root will attach to this subnet as well. Okay, so I didn't mention this particular thing, the one which I'm showing in bold. So this is something which I didn't mention. I just mentioned this thing. I also mentioned this, then only, you know, I'm showing the way. I just show the way. I just, you know, define the route till here. Okay, till the corridor. From corridor till living room, I didn't show anything. And this is why, you know, let me cancel it. Let me show what was there. So this is my public subnet. This is my public subnet. Okay, when I open it, I need to attach the root table which I have defined in here. Okay, I need to attach the root table. Okay, so here root table association. So I need to attach it. I need to select my root table, which is my root table, public root table. Okay, and then save it. Now you see root is there. Before it was not showing the root. So my subnet should show that, you know, okay, fine, something is coming from outside through this IGW to this particular living room. Okay, so something is coming from outside through this root table to this living room. And similarly, I need to attach the root table of the private to the private subnet as well. This is my private subnet. Open it, root table, and attach that private root table. This is my private root table. Attach it. Save. Okay, so root table. So it is attached, this private root table. Before it was not attached. Now can I try it? Now what I have done in this particular diagram, I have defined this root, and now I have defined this thing as well. So this one which I am showing in bold. Okay, so these two things I missed to define, which I have defined now. Okay, so now the setup is complete. EC2 instance is launch here and one is launch here. Let's see if I am able to access this EC2 instance or not. Okay, so this is the thing. Restart the session. Accept. See. Okay, so what I have done, from outside through this root table, I have logged in into this EC2 instance. Understood, guys? Okay, from outside through this root table, I have logged into this EC2 instance. So Rakesh has come to Manoj's house from the main door, you know, went into the corridor, and from corridor, okay, land into the sofa. I mean, sat on the sofa, which Rakesh has just bought. Okay. Now, can we see if Rakesh can go out from living room or not? Okay, he has come into the flat. Okay, into the living room. Is it possible for Rakesh to go out from living room or not? Can we check this? How to check? Let's see if we are able to ping google.com or not. Ping www. Oh, dot google dot com. See, okay, so if if I'm able to access internet from this instance, then that is also allowed. Okay, so Rakesh would also be able to go out from the living room as well through the same route, from root table, from IGW, and then he can go out. Okay, and how did we check if we are able to access internet from this particular EC2 instance or not? If internet is accessible, then it has a public internet access. Okay, can we do the same thing for this now? Let's see. Before that, can we do the same thing for this or not? Tell me. This is my instance and this is my private instance. Can I log into my private instance using PuTTY?
No.
Why?
There we didn't mention where in route table we didn't mention anything. We just
Yeah.
mentioned only the internal traffic.
And also there's no IP, public IP.
Yeah.
And to access my instance, I need a public IP. Else how would I be able to access it? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Understood?
We can. Yeah. So can we use private IP there on the bottom?
Wait,
Is it possible to use private IP to access your instance from internet?
No.
Isn't it?
Because
What if-
we already in that private network, we can only access through the public
Yeah.
IP. Like we use with the modem, yeah. Because
Yeah.
if I come to your house, I logged into
Mm.
your network with the password, I can access the internet through the modem, yeah. Only the
Yeah.
modem,
Mm.
not through
Honestly.
your computer system or something like that.
Exactly. And yeah, go ahead.
So from sofa to bed, I can go now.
Yeah, sofa to bed you can go. How
Yeah,
to
from
go?
that instance we already logged in, so we
From
can
that
use
instance, I can go to bedroom.
it. But,
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But from internet, I cannot go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
I cannot go from internet to this instance.
Yeah. Mm.
I can go from this instance to this instance
Yeah.
because this is the route I have defined.
Mm.
Understood?
Yeah.
This is the route I have defined. Let's see. First of all, from PuTTY I cannot because I don't have the public IP. Manoj,
yes.
there's no public IP. Only if I have a public IP which is there with the sofa one. Okay. Here we have a public IP. I am able to log in from SSH.
Yes.
Okay. Since
There is no public.
bed doesn't have a public IP, I won't be able to access from the PuTTY. Okay. So what if I need to put some kind of IP address, what should I need to put? It only understand public IP. It never understand private IP. And since my private instance bed, okay, it doesn't have a public IP, I cannot access it from PuTTY. Okay, from here. But I can access from this instance. So I can access from this instance to this instance. How do I need to do that? This is my instance. I need to SSH to the private IP. So what is a private IP? This is the private IP.
Private IP.
Copy. Okay. Or maybe let's do it in this way. EC2 hyphen user at the rate. Yeah. Tell me. Any questions, Manoj?
No, sir.
So what I am doing in PuTTY as well. See, PuTTY I am doing nothing, guys. This is also SSH. I'm doing SSH, and what I write here EC2 hyphen user at the rate public IP. Correct? But since I don't have the public IP of the second instance, I cannot, right here, I cannot use this putty. How can I use it? I can use from here only. When I am into my public instance, from there I can go to my bedroom. How to go there? Go there, SSH EC2 user at the rate this. Enter. Yes. Failed. You know why?
It should be default, right? We should the instances in the public should have access to the private one, right? It's a default.
Yeah. But
But why it's not?
without a password, will you be able to access it? You need
Okay.
password. I'm just
Hmm.
giving the IP. Where is the IP? Where is that command? Yeah. This is only the IP and user.
Yeah.
I'm giving user and IP.
Mhm.
But without password, how would I be able to access the instance? I need a password, correct?
Yeah.
So tell me the password.
We didn't mention any password for when we created the public one. I mean, private one.
Come on, how can you say that even for the public one, how are we accessing it? Are we not giving any password? Now I've got one assignment for you guys. Fine. First tell me the answer to the question which I just said.
With the key we are accessing.
Yeah. So we have created a key that is nothing but a password, isn't it?
Password. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. You guys access Linux instances in your office or in college. Okay. You give password, but in our case, we are giving the key. But how? But we are not giving password. So that key itself is acting as a password. Now assignment for you guys. It is not AWS. Okay.
Mm.
It is a generic one. Linux kind of assignment. How to have password enabled EC2 instance. I mean, we need to log into an EC2 instance through password, username and password. We don't want key. How to have it? Manoj, you understand the question or assignment?
Answer. No. One more time, tell sir.
One more thing, what? Okay, question. Okay, question is, I want you to show me how to have username and password, how to use username and password to log into an EC2 instance. I don't want key. I don't want PPK key or PEM key. I want password enable, EC2 instance.
Yes.
Okay. One more assignment. I want you guys to create one more user in your EC2 instance. So no, I don't want EC2-user to be used to log into your EC2 instance. I want any other user to be used to log into your EC2 instance. Okay. Now.
Yeah. Kevin, when we open the putty,
Mhm.
there we have an option to put the key, right?
Yeah.
What's that? When
Yeah,
we put that, when we put the password there, can we use the same one to use it somewhere else, or we can use? Oh no, I think we can use only for that one.
Which one you're talking about?
When we open the putty.
Yeah, where do I need to go?
No, what? Maybe Puttigen, I think. When we do Puttigen, it asks for the password. You can put a password something.
Let's open the Puttigen. Yeah, where it is.
So where did I saw? I don't know. I saw somewhere. Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
No,
Okay,
not here. Yeah.
fine. So now coming back to this one.
Mm.
Okay, how to have how to give password to this. What we have learned so far, we will use the same thing. Use the key. Okay, PEM file or PPK. We are going to use that only. So to log into this instance, we need to have the PEM file or PPK file. Okay, do we need PEM file or do we need PPK file? Now question back to you guys. What do we need?
PPK.
PPK.
What is the full form of PPK?
Private.
Guys, PPK is putty private key.
Putty private key.
So if you are using putty to log into a EC2 instance, then only you need PPK. Else you
Okay.
don't need it. Are we using putty here to log
No.
into the second instance?
No.
No. So we don't need PPK. We need PEM.
PEM.
Okay. We create PPK only so that with the help of putty, we would be able to log into the EC2 instance. Else PPK has no use. Okay. Now, so do we have PEM file on this system? We need to create a PEM file. Okay. So which PEM file we have used? We have used this PEM file. We have used this PEM file, correct? Which is there on my local laptop. I will copy the content, Control A, Control C, copy the content, and I will take it on my instance. So I will create a file test.pem. Okay, where I'm going to create it? Anywhere. So on home EC2 user. So vi test.pem and copy the content. Okay, skip wq. Okay, so I have a PEM file which with this. Okay, then chmod I need to what was the what clear. So ls minus lrt. So my PEM file has these access read. Okay, I will give access of 775 but 45. Okay, now what was the command I used for SSH? SSH minus I, then PEM file, and then this command. Oh, my bad. CH. See, I'm into my other instance. This is the IP address. So I need to give this particular 700, so you guys knows about the significance of this control D. I will again go back. What was the command which I have used? You guys knows the significance of these things?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Read means we can't edit or we can
Read, write.
So first
read,
one,
write.
yeah. So this is read, write, and execute. Okay. And first thing is for the owner of the file. Who is the owner? That particular person has the authority to to execute all these things, read, write, execute. Second is for the group. And third is for the user. If any other user wanted to do, then that particular user can do. If any group to that particular user belongs to, we are allowing those, we are giving those permission to the group. But with this 700, what we have done, we are not giving any permission to any other user to use this file. It is only being used by EC2 user who has created the file. That particular user is having only the permission to read, write, and execute. With this command, the command which we have used is chmod 700. 7 is for 4567, all permission to the owner, and 00, no permission to anyone else. So this command I have used for test.pem, and then after changing the permission of this, when I use the command ssh, with this command, what I have done, I have used this PEM file with this particular option and use this particular thing to log into the new instance. Understood? Questions?
What is this -I after SSH, Kevin?
-I is option
Optional.
to give PEM file as an input. Okay, I'm giving PEM file as an input to for this SSH command.
So now we are in the other instance.
Other instance. Let's see if I am able to access internet from this instance or not. How to do that? Ping.
Ping.
No internet access. So I cannot, from this instance, I cannot go outside. Okay. I cannot go outside from this instance. And the example is in front of you. Okay.
But we can ping our public subnet, can we?
From public subnet, I can go from.
No, from here to the public.
Yeah, I can go from here to the public. I need to do the same thing. I need to create a PEM file. Okay. If I want, see, PEM file is nothing but a password in an encrypted format. Okay.
Yeah.
So I need, if I wanted to log into the public instance, okay, I need to give the username and password. Then only I would be able to log into that instance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So so you need to create a PEM file for that particular case as well.
Okay.
Any questions? Will you be able to create this on your own?
Yeah, we'll try.
Yes, Kevin, we'll do.
Okay. Manoj?
Sir, I will practice.
Kevin, can I ping from private subnet to the public subnet? Ping.
See, I have enabled all traffic, so you would be able to ping as well.
Ping. Okay. Yeah.
If I could have only enabled SSH, then you won't be able to ping it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how to delete everything? Okay. To delete everything, what I need to do, I just need to go on the VPC and delete the VPC. I don't need to delete everything individually. My VPC, action, delete VPC.
Kevin, by default, these are chargeable, right? These are all charged.
Sorry. Yeah. Oh, I need to delete the instance first because instance are in use. Then, yeah, these are charged. What all are charged? Sorry. What was your question? Come again.
I mean, the VPC or these kind of things, whatever we created.
No.
No.
These are all logical thing which we are creating. These are not the actual resources which we are creating.
Okay. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Okay. Logical ones here free. Okay.
Okay. The only thing is IGW. Okay. So just delete the IGW
Mm.
because that is an entry in the router. Okay.
Okay.
So delete the IGW.
But when
So
we create a VPC, the storage is created, right?
why?
No.
Why storage is created when we create a VPC?
Sorry. Yeah. Routing table. Yeah. Okay.
VPC is network. Why
Yeah.
storage is going to be created with a network? Okay. So first
Yeah.
we'll delete we'll terminate the instances. So instances we need to do manually. Then go into the VPC. Let give some time to it. Okay. See, it will going to create each and everything which we have created. Okay. And delete. Deleting subnet, root table, IGW, security group, everything. So nothing is there. See subnet. We don't have our subnets. We don't have our root tables. Okay. Internet gateway. These are the things which we have created. So nothing is there. And instance we need to terminate manually before terminating it, before deleting VPC. Okay.